Hello everyone, this is Janet from Mixed Media Mama. I just want to come to you today and tell you the wonderful journal that I have made. In the last video, you had seen me unboxing a beautiful gifted box from a subscription company, I'm going to say, and it's called Your Creative Studio. Thank you so much. They reached out to me and I said, absolutely yes, I will be more than happy to make something up with their products. And in the last video, you can see all of that, and I will link that video down below. But here it is. Now, I do have to admit that this is kind of an experiment journal. I had watched Susie from Shabby Soul. I'll link her down below too. And she had shown how she made some of her journals, the signatures and things, everything in there. Now, there is a bit of a learning curve into it, but I will fine tune it. It was very easy. Knowing me, I just made it a little too difficult. But there are 7 signatures and flat spine, or I should say kind of a semi-flat spine. And that is where my learning curve is going to be, is within fine-tuning how to incorporate it and make it a little bit more flatter or more where I would like to have it. But Susie showed it and it was fabulous watching her. So thank you very much, Susie. I will just keep on fine-tuning my skills. But here she is. I'm very happy with this. And even though it is kind of an experiment, it still turned out fabulous. I will point out throughout the whole flip all the things that I can tell you right off the top of my head from Your Creative Studio. I will link all of the other things, the dies, all of the other papers and things that I did use incorporated into it, but it is jam-packed, so let's get into it. First of all, the cover is from a used book. I cut the spine off because I wanted to use this fabulous, look at that lace. And I wanted to use the front and back cover because it was about the size that I wanted. And I would say it is probably no more than 5 wide, and I would say probably 7.5 to 8 inches tall. Now, as you can see, the tags and the lusciousness just reaches out beyond that. That's me. Love it, love it, love it. The fabric is from Tim Holtz. I will put where I got the fabric and what collection that is from, but look at these colors. I really tried to incorporate some of the same colors that were in the collection of Your Creative Studio. Believe it was the June 23 hydrangea subscription box. I will double check with that, but I'm almost certain. So as you open it up, each signature is sewn in itself, and I try to use as much as I could from the subscription box, and I only have a little bit. Actually, the outside wrapping paper, the washi tape, a few stickers, but I used, as you can tell, even the envelopes that the stamps came in. So let's just jump right on in. Of course, I wanted to just have, this is kind of my signature, I always put a tuck or a pocket on the inside, and the stamp, I just put it on some ledger paper. This is an authentic vintage. Actually, on the inside, it's just a pocket, but it is made in Germany. It is such a luscious and beautiful postcard. And the dies that I use, I like to invest into tools, which I love dies and stencils, but you can make your own version of this. You do you. That's really what I really want to encourage, is that you do you. This little is a file folder from Elizabeth Craft Design, and of course this is one of her, and I used glaze on here, and then but the bottom, if you can look through all of the stamping, that is paper from the subscription box. I'm just going to flip it over, and you can see it is definitely a file folder. I just put a little, and you can see on the inside, as I take the tags out, this little piece is of vellum, and of course the stamp. And on the inside of here is the paper. And you can just, it is so delicate pink. And then I just stamped it with that beautiful stamp. And tags. I will link also the other papers, like I said, but I believe I used from Louise Heinzel, her Etsy. I will link that down, and all the kits that I use, and Kleeblatt Creations, I believe. They have on Etsy, they have some beautiful faces, and I just absolutely loved them. And of course, this is one of the journaling cards also. Die cutted a film strip, but made a tag out of a little, oh, just lovely, a little stamp. And the box came, and it had all kinds of papers, vellums, sticker paper, a textured paper, postage stamps, washi tape, of course stamps, journaling cards. It was just busting its seams. And as you can tell, I used one of the stickers, and here is another part of the sticker. I just layered, basically. I just layered. And of course I use scrapbooking cardstock, pattern paper, cut down an old, really vintage old, I love that. Had some beautiful ribbon in the back. It was a greeting card, and I only wanted this certain portion out of the greeting card. Backed that on some manila file folder, made it into a nice little tag. Now each one of these signatures has a larger tag in, and as you can see, it is a large tag. It is probably, I try to make the large tags the same length as the pages. Here is the paper or vellum, I believe that is the sticker paper, and then stamps, and a little portion from the kit, some fabric, and of course this is just a, I believe it's a Tim Holtz Sizzix die, and then of course a lot of mixed media. You can tell that was definitely an experiment. But I used it, worked out, loved it. Use the back of a flashcard, and there is the rest, or a part of that card, greeting card. This is stickers back here, and I just collaged them together, and then I used another stamp, some vintage tape there. Of course, these are all cards that came in. I die cutted them with Elizabeth Craft Designs dies. There we go. Same thing, this is Elizabeth Craft Design die shape. This technique I learned from Louisa Heinzel. And here is the subscription box paper. Love he's just, isn't that just adorable? How can you not just laugh when you see a face like that? Such joy, such joy. Of course, I cut down this size down to this size. This was just a small paper pack. That's the wonderful thing about, creating. You can do you can make it into, I made a little folder here. Used the washi tape as hinges. The inside was all the paper. Leftovers, actually. And I had a tiny little die from Elizabeth Craft, and of course I had to use it on one of the stickers there and backed it with the paper. It was so fun, so fun. And this in the die was cut, there we go, from Elizabeth Craft die. There are just many tools that I have, and I love to reuse them because it is such an investment. Now I'm going to take this tag out. The back paper is just regular scrapbooking paper. And then I had some fabric, or just really, it feels like tulle, but it's very delicate tulle, and I had little sequins on it. And so I took part of the paper and I fussy cut it all around the paper, and I made that into a tuck spot. And of course, this is page 2. So then that made, so you could have a nice tag. And on the tag, of course, I used paper and stickers, and these lovely women. I just love that. And then part on the back side on that script is actually authentic, just a little strip of the authentic greeting card that I took apart. And of course, all of this outside of the stamp came into the kit. I love using the different shapes. It's such a visual texture. Even when you can't, like with this, I cannot have a bulky textured tag or a piece of ephemera. So I just use my dies, and I love her just peeking out there, use my dies to make it look like a visual textured tag. And this is just crazy. Isn't she just a hoot? Love it. I made like a little trifold flip, but before that I want to show you this tag. Used the textured paper on a really skinny tag, and then this was a sticker, this little tiny pink strip. Here was a sticker page, and then vellum. And I just kept layering. It was kind of a collage. And this was just a tiny bit off of a part of the paper. And I just really liked that. So the floral, there again, that was glaze experimented on a different type. Actually, it was the silver Tim Holtz paper. It worked, it didn't work, but I love the eclecticness of it all. So going back to this trifold is just, I love it. This is another thing that I learned from Susie from Shabby Soul. In her many places, as she loves to incorporate fiber fabrics, things like that. And so I just did a little bit of collage with the paper, and the top flap has a circular part of the vellum, and I put a sticker on top of the vellum, and then just a little fiber that and zigzag that in. This was just a little tag that I had. Used the paper that was in the kit. The back is cardstock, and made it into a nice little tag. And these are from Tracy Fox Creative. Then the bottom I just made into a nice, and this is one of the stickers I put on a piece of cardstock and made it into just a pocket. And this is, I love that little, it comes in just a tag or piece of paper, you know, that paper that pack that I showed you. And I just circled cut that face out because it was just so pretty. I love that just vision of those eyes, and so I just cut that out. So then, of course, I took a piece of remnant lace, stamped on it, and made it into kind of a mini belly band, you know, so it fits perfect right there. And then I made a tag. I'm not done though either, because of course the paper and the vintage tape and one of these, it's very simple, but on the back it is a small flashcard fit. But here's the really cool thing. I used that same vellum and die cutted and stamped and made that into another little pocket behind the tag. And this is just, I just cut this down just a bit to fit in that pocket. Isn't that just adorable? Just adorable. And that goes right back. And you can't even hardly see. That is just so pretty. Now, each of the pages I did use, you see the number 2 here. I did use Elizabeth Craft dies. They have, and these are just like those little paper clips, but I cut them out of cardstock and then I glued them on, and each page has a number. Okay, then except this page. This is just a lace page. Actually, it's a lace doily that I folded up and I made into a nice little tuck. I just think that is so pretty. That is authentic. I'm trying to incorporate a lot more authentic ephemera into my books. Not always just to use digitals. There's that beautiful couple. The background is the paper from the kit. Just because sometimes you get a wealth of things collected that are authentic ephemera, and you got to use it somehow. You can't take it with you. And so this I made into a belly band. This is a Elizabeth Craft die, this shape, but the paper is, the background paper is definitely scrapbook paper, but the paper here is actual paper from the kit. And I'm going to hopefully get a little close to show you. I just, each one of these has a nice little sticker on. It came with the kit, and I just fussy cutted a bigger shape out so it would, and this is, I just fussy cutted a little portion of that little sticker, added another little vellum sticker here, just as each one. And so there is, and of course that number 3. So that is just a really nice belly band. So this tag is just a manila folder tag with the paper and then stamping and another part of the sticker that goes on. And you can see it's just a nice little tag. So there are areas that you can journal, you can add pictures if you want. Oh, there we go. So let's just, since I got that caught, here's the other half of that doily. I just made this tag really simple. Now this is part of the vellum, and I really glued, so it's kind of a dark, but I glued it on, and the gel medium made it a little bit stiffer and made that a little bit darker, but I really like that. It's so pretty, just on some cardstock, paper pattern, or patterned paper. Get my verbiage here. And this is another technique from Susie from Shabby Soul. I will link the video down below, that she took some photos or copies of the photo and just kind of collaged them into a tea bag. And I sewed around it. I just thought that was so neat how she did that. And this is just a an old tag bag. I just think that is such a wonderful way of, a unique way of adding some more visual texture. Now this is the center of the whole book. It is an envelope or one of the stamps that came in, but I knew I wanted to use it, so I took it apart, sewed it in, and then put it back together and made it into a beautiful tuck envelope. Here's the tag. Outside of the background paper, that green background paper, everything else, it came with the kit. Fussy cutted this out. The stickers, the postage stamp, the paper, just on a piece of paper. Number 4. That is just a beautiful, oh, love those pictures of those people. And of course this is the paper. And the background here, right behind the lady and that tape, is also the paper from your creative studio. On the other side of the envelope, it is just really a collage of vellum. That's all it is, collage pieces, leftover collage pieces of vellum. I cut this little piece out, and the paper, this little shiny piece, I'm going to get it up close. This little shiny piece is actually part of the Matchbox container that the tags came in. I decided I loved the color, and I made it into a nice little label there, and I fussy cutted one of the tags out, made it into a little belly band shape, and then I made an envelope out of one of the papers, leftover paper. I'm going to get my little, and 2 of the tags, I fussy cutted one into a, there we go, one into a stamp, and the other one I just used a rectangle. They are really, they're light lavender color, and they are white, so it is kind of hard to see, and the camera is probably not picking it up as well. But this little envelope, I'd say it's probably 1.5 inches by 2 inches. It is a die cut from Elizabeth Craft Design. It's just really, really easy. Love doing those little things. I think it just adds such character to the journal or whatever project you are doing. And of course, this is, everybody recognizes the butterfly. It is actually the sticker sheet from the kit I used from Tim Holtz, a butterfly die. Cut that out and just made, there are 3 pockets on this page, number 5. And here is the first little, I just sewed this in, and it is just a nice little tuck. I had some area down here. And then of course this tag, it's just a tall skinny tag. You recognize the paper, and then of course the stamp. And then this is just a piece of leftover behind the butterfly, is just a piece of leftover, and I made that into, and of course this behind the scallop here is just another piece of leftover. So I try to make as much as I can and utilize everything that is available. You just really kind of, it forces you to be creative. And of course here is another sheet, as you can tell, this whole sheet. And I just die cutted these slots in. At first it was horizontal, then vertical. And of course the tags are from the kit. Everything has a place and a purpose, and I just really enjoy that. You just gotta think outside of the box. And of course that is one of those stickers I just used the back of some of the, I believe this was it's a harder surface where the paper came in, the package of the paper that came in. So there's more tags from the smaller paper, a sticker. I just keep on making small, and of course that's a postage stamp. And you can see that the slots are horizontal now. It's just so fun. So, of course, here is an Elizabeth Craft die, and it is shaped of this is called the Seedpacket die, and I will link that down below too. But I just used actually part of the packaging, that's some of the paper that came in, and I really wanted just to utilize everything. Why? Unless you have tiny scraps. I don't save everything, but I do try to utilize as much as I can. I had forgotten to go ahead and show this. The shape is a skinny flashcard. I had gone to an estate sale that had the skinny flashcards, and literally this is leftovers. I had a strip, some vintage tape. This is run second stamps. When you test your stamp, I always like to, if it's too juicy, once you ink your stamp up, if it's too juicy, I always have a piece of paper to the side, and it's just all of this conglomerate. It's just, yeah, I use that too. It's just second hand stamps. Or stamp off, if that's what I'm not sure what the verbiage is, but I love her, and she just really fit in. The new Tim Holtz stamp. Yep. Just making sure I'm showing all of the tags. See, it is just packed full. We are on page 6. We're almost done. So these vellum pockets right here are pockets. They are vellum, as you can see. You can still see some of the tags that are there, but there is the die, that paper, that paper, and then I love that. I love combining different patterns. That is my style. I really do like to do that. Here is another piece of paper, and part of a sticker there, and then an actual stamp and a tiny little tag on a leftover piece of paper there too. This is really an interesting. The background is scrapbooking paper, and of course you can recognize the papers here, and of course the tags. I love to incorporate sewing with that too. So here's just a nice little tuck pocket. And of course, collaging is wonderful. It just adds so much. And this is just a card. Usually those journaling cards. And I just literally took leftovers, glued them on, and just a lovely, and you can journal on the back. I love to incorporate the sewing. I like to leave the strings, and you can see the zigzag also. And here's the tag that goes into that slot. It is, again, a tall, skinny flashcard. Leftovers. Here is stickers. This right here, this piece of white paper behind, is just literally a collage sheet that I had on hand. And, of course, this strips. There is a nice full sheet. This is probably the last that I use. I always make my tags last in my journals. And then, of course, the getting close. Another nice little pocket. a tag in a tiny little envelope. And I do have a little stamp in there. Leftovers. And I put the specimen in there, you know, and that is Elizabeth Craft Eye and some Tim Holtz field notes stamps. And these are just leftover scraps from doing something like this. And I love layering them. And here's another little tuck. That's just a beautiful tag. And of course I had to incorporate a specimen card because this whole page looks like it is a specimen conglomeration. And of course stamping. Took one of the white beautiful tags and made it into, and of course added a authentic stamp there. A piece of paper, cut it down to portion to fit into this little pocket. There's gotta have her standing out there, peeking out. Just love that. Actually, I think it went like this. Yes, it did. And that is the back cover, inside cover. I did not put a tuck spot there, but I just thought it was just lovely. I will put that back in. There you go, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. And thank you again for the beautiful company of your creative studio. I so appreciate it. This was so much fun. Let's do this again. Until next time, everyone, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.